Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Hello to the three randomers that are watching. This is a bit of a random test for the paper review after the exam. But I'll stay online here for a little bit, and if anyone has any questions, you can throw them into the chat.
Shut up and sit down.
That's class. That's great to hear. Like I started doing these videos from my own classes, from my own groups, and then they'd hardly ever use them. So I started making them public then on YouTube. It's good to see that they're actually helping. Last minute tips. Normally I'd say to my groups, focus on what you know. Like the other teachers say this for other topics as well. Like, you know what's coming up in section C, so maybe have a look at that first and get that out of the way. Because was it 35 minutes roughly per question, so you could literally time yourself for that one. Do 35 minutes for your whatever question it is, 35 minutes for the next one, and then move on to A and B. Donald, that's great to hear as well. How'd you get on in it? If you have time, is it good to outline and fine line it? Yeah, if you have time, I'd say like you could be pushed for time. Like the color and all that is great for the videos and great for study. But on the day of the exam, if you have time, do. There's no marks for presentation though. They're not giving anything for draftsmanship anymore. It doesn't seem to be in American schemes anyway. So if you have time, great. If not, I wouldn't worry about it. Sean, what did I... let's get my little book. For section C, I think I said for the dynamic mechanism, if I'm reading correctly here, let's see, loci and linkage, helix and logarithmic spiral. What the hell did I put into the video? I'm not going to be cheeky and send that on to Ryan in the chat, the link to the predictions video. 2 Sean Ryans. So the first Sean Ryan, I think I said possibility of a loci coming up, because I haven't seen one of them in a good while. So, your circle moving along a line. But they're always going to mix it up. So it's loci and a linkage, or the combination. So something like, there was one before, you had a wheel that rotate along a path on a lorry as it's tipping, and you had to do you had to plot the loci of a point on the back of the lorry. And then that would be part A. Then for part B, possibly the helix. No, it couldn't have a straightforward helix, but I haven't seen a helix come up in a long time. So possibility of that. Again, look at my video. There's no guarantee they'll come up. Did really well, 90+% in the paper. That's brilliant. And around similar in the project. I did really well in part A, but not so well in part B because of misunderstanding of what they were looking from us, I think. Yeah, sometimes they can word it. Well, actually, yeah, sometimes they can word it bad enough, but they try and give them most information as they can. But But that's brilliant to get over 90% of the paper. And same with the project. What was the project the year you did it? See, that's the main thing. Like, don't, as long as you get your place in college, like, it's all like, well, as far as I'm concerned, my job is to get my students as many points as possible, whatever about understanding and so on. Preferably, if you could get your students to understand, if you could understand all the subjects or all the topics in 2 years, brilliant. But like, it's all about those points. Tips for assemblies. Feels like they take up too much time between all the little things. If it looks bad, and C3 a good option. Yeah, if C3 is your roof and geometry, because I'm an engineering teacher, so the C1, C2, C3s wouldn't be the ones I'd focus on. But if it's a roof and geometry question, it's just like coordinate geometry, so it's a really good option, right? Also, the tips for assemblies. What's it called? The parts list. The names of the parts give so much information where they might actually end up being the assembly. Also, if you look back on any of the past marking schemes, the hatching and so on at the end is only like 1 or 2 marks out of the 45. So assemblies, what I like about assemblies is you don't have to. There isn't too much to learn about them, but they are time consuming. So I'd say look at the marking scheme and just double check what they expect for the hatching. But if you didn't have time, you could leave that out at the end. Good chance of roof geometry in section C. I don't really know, Sean, because as I said there, I kind of focus on what do I focus on? I focus on C4 and C5. I think last year, can't remember what last year's paper was. I'll try and get it up. If last year's paper was roof one, there's a possibility it won't be again this year. How do you figure out what you get in the project? That's the shit part of it, because I've had a lot of good students where they've gotten a really good project done, and then maybe they don't do so well in the drawing and brings them down. So, and then I've had students with H1s and H2s. So I'd love to see the project and see what they got marked on that. But I think the only way to know what you got is if you review the paper. So they'll send the project out to the school, and you can actually review it with your teacher or with I know the vice principal sit in as well. I'm not too sure what happens nowadays, but because I've never done it. But to see what you get, you have to kind of review it after the leaving cert. But as Donald said, there he got his points. So once you get your points, it doesn't really matter. What I would say though is back it up. Like, always have because you scan in your drawings, so have that portfolio, because it might be handy for a job interview or anything like that after college, or even for placement during college. Oh, the taps. Yeah, that was a good year, Donald. I think that's the year I had 2 students, and they got, I know, was it H1 at the time, or was it A1s? But they did great taps. But yeah, the taps, a bit random. Killian Flood is going to get a H1. Wish him luck. Yeah, good luck there, Killian. That's definitely 100% genuine there from Dean, yeah? Hello, Bijou. What time would you recommend per question? I think it's 30, isn't it 35 minutes per question? How many? You have 3 hours, is it? Let's see. Yeah, you have 3 hours. So I count the short questions as like one question. What's his name? Mick there. So I'd recommend, what am I saying? Sorry, just 3 hours. So I'd count the short questions as one. I'd count the 2 in section B obviously is 2, and then the 2 in section C is 2. So 5. So 3 hours divided by 5. I think that's giving you roughly around 35 minutes. Let's see. Yeah, roughly 35, 36 minutes. I'd leave, and also those short questions, like you should fly through them. Like it shouldn't be too hard to save time on the short questions. So you might finish them in 25, 30 minutes and then add that time on at the end. Ryan, I think this year you see component marks for orals, project, etc. on the line. Think maybe I'm just going crazy after the leaving cert. Ryan, I think this year you see component marks for oral. Possibly, yeah. I'm not too sure because this year at the moment actually another teacher has the leaving cert for DCG, so I have the 5th years. So I'm not too sure. Liam, do you think skew lines is likely in section B? Only skew lines, Liam. Only in section B would only be like how it was. I think it was 2009 or 12 or something when the pyramids came up as perspective, and you had 2 skew lines questions to do, or you had 2 skew lines as like part C of it. But as their own long question, no, I definitely wouldn't see them come up as a long question. They've always been kind of like a small part of another question, especially in the own syllabus. So I know, did I predict them or not for skew lines, but let's see, I think skew lines came up in short questions, did they, last year? Yeah, so, and they came up, yeah, I couldn't see them coming up. I could only see skew lines coming up as either a short question or a part of like a part B question. Any questions to avoid if we see them, Damien? Not particularly. Like any questions to avoid if we see them. Like the kind of the harder ones, I think. Like I know it might be the same with every other bloody subject, but if you they always try and catch you out. Like, you know, you have intersections of solids, you have axonometric, but then there was one year decided to combine the two. You know, it's not a straightforward question. So what I'd say, the questions that I tend to not like when I review the paper is those autographic kind of projection questions. You know, like that bean one that ended up being straightforward enough, but on the day, if you're flustered at all and you see that, it might be hard to understand what they're asking for, hard to visualize what it's supposed to look like, even though some of them don't give you an answer on the paper. But what I'd say, Damien, is just to focus on what you know. Like if you come across section B and there's a coordinate geometry question, you like them, and then there's intersection or there's axonometric, do them, and then that third one, whatever it is, forget about it, move on to C or move on to A. Best things to look over like an hour before the exam, especially for this year, Derry. Yeah, it took me, I was supposed to do this live stream around 9, but it took me this long to set up OBS because it was giving me trouble. So like I'd say before the night of the exam, now the teacher advice is, you know, relax, have a good night's sleep, so on. My personal point of view is I was cramming. You always cram, like, so college, leaving cert, etc. It's always like you might pick up something before it. So and to look over before the exam. Let's see, possibly your section C, just to double, because again, you know what's coming up there. You've picked the topics there, and you know specific topics. So I'd say look over that again, because then those 90 marks, you get a good chunk of them, or try and get as much of them as you can. Hashi, I've done very little. Do you think I will pass? Hashi, you the dude that was telling people not to study as well in the comments. I've done very little. Do you think I will pass? Sure, Hashi. Anything is possible. Liam, or intersecting planes. Liam, what did you say in the last one there? Do you think skew lines? Intersecting planes. Intersecting planes, that's corner geometry, isn't it? You're in, up, down. Let's see, what did I say? No, I wouldn't. Actually, looking back now, I think that's come up 2 years in a row. Yeah, it came up 2016, Liam, and it came up in 2017. If you're talking about the intersection of planes, like your in, up, down, your dihedral angle. So I look again. They did axiometric 3 years in a row, and I said it definitely wouldn't come up 3 years in a row to my students. So it could possibly come up 3 years in a row again, but I think it's highly unlikely. Carl, do you think triangulation would be something that I need to know? And also, I've only seen one surface geometry that was based around conics. Is this something I should be worried about? Geez, I didn't expect this many comments and actually people watching. It's brilliant. Carl, do you think triangulation would be something I need to know? Also, sir, the triangulation, I would be too worried about that, but the surface geometry based on conics is something I should be worried about. Yeah, because like the people that set the papers, especially in DCG, it's kind of like, here's one topic, here's the other. That's what you're kind of studying, trying to understand them, and the next thing, bang, they'll combine the two or put on a random topic with it. Now, the conics, like you will have conical sections like that for surface geometry. So, like that one I uploaded recently, where you'd have the development of it. But I'd say, yeah, it is. Like that's why I know, do I say it enough in the videos, or I say it enough in class. It's not going to be straightforward. They are going to try and throw something at you, try and put you off. Having said that, now there is a lot of information in the 3D graphics they provide, so hopefully that should offset the way they combine the topics. Would you know if they harshly marked the project? I wouldn't, to be honest with you, and I've never marked DCG. I'm hoping to soon, hopefully, because I'd love to see how they do mark the project. But I don't think they harshly mark the project. I do think that they have a lot of projects to go through. So what I try and get across is that it should be it should look good. As in, like, I think an examiner would be fairly flying through them. So they're kind of flip through the pages quickly. So it kind of has a standout. If there's a lot of empty space, wasted space, they drop marks. But if they harshly, I don't think they'd harshly mark it. Like they, what else do they do? No, they wouldn't harshly mark it. And also, somebody mentioned there in the comments, if it was a hard project, would have been easy exam. So they don't kind of offset like that. Like, if it was a hard paper last year, it might be easier paper this year, and you see that with other subjects. So I wouldn't say they harshly marked the project. They just mark it quickly. That's the only thing. How bad was the development question in 2018? Is that that development question in 2018, was that the Mario kind of section B question? It was like a Happy Meal or a box. Looking at it initially, I know when I did it, when I reviewed it, but looking at it initially, it looked off the wall, looked out of place. But then reading through it, I think it was a handy enough question, to be fair. So it wasn't that bad. Now again, if you didn't study development, if you weren't too happy with it coming up, then obviously it would have been bad enough. Classic exam, can't wait. Commander. Now, where else am I? Hopefully finding horizontal and vertical planes won't come up. Is that the vertical traces? Yeah, they can be tricky enough. Sometimes I'm contradicting myself here now, saying sometimes they can be handy enough as well, and sometimes they can be tricky. But yeah, even some of the videos I've done, I think I did a tutorial on traces or not, but they can be fine. They can be okay. Also, remember, like, if the traces is a second part or a third part, like, it might only be worth a few marks. So that's worth bearing in mind. Going down for a few. After the exam, yes. Oh, Irish Anonymous. So you're the dude on Twitch. I don't think I'll be streaming on Twitch somehow. Are you a DCG teacher? Yeah, DCG engineering teacher. Had both years most of the time in my school, but another teacher's coming now. Actually, he's on YouTube too, Mr. Cunningham. But so he takes a year and I take a year. So I have my 5th years at the moment. I'll have leaving cert. They'll be in leaving cert next year. I'll continue on with them and then back to 5th year again. So yeah, DCG and engineering teacher. Dara Byrne, do you believe the Rhodes question will be twisted this year like a pool again or something? I think I kind of do. I was hoping to do the Rhodes question, Dara, for last year's one for to upload here, but I did get around to it, didn't get a chance. But But yeah, last year it looked like a nice question, as in there was straight lines, and then it was your what was it? The car park. So I could see it being a roundabout again, or are you on about the pool one where it was like the heights were tiny because it was actually a swimming pool? So rather than your 50 meters, it was 1 meter and 5 meters. So yeah, I could see them doing something like that easily. Cheers! I hate dihedral angles and all that shit. Yeah. Actually, yeah. Well, see, you'll have your favorites, like Liam. I like it and I like teaching it because I think it's handy enough, and also when it comes up then in surface geometry, I think it can be a nice question. Damien, lad, your lifesaver been cramming your vids for the past 3 hours. Yeah, see, a lot of people have been cramming them for the last couple of days from the analytics anyways. But yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, no, but like, it's brilliant as long as they help, like, because as I said at the start, like, I was doing them for my own groups, and sure, only 1 or 2 people be using them. So now that they're online and public on YouTube, it's great that somebody is actually getting use out of them. Death flare. The dihedral angles are easy. You can definitely learn it now before the exam. I don't know about cramming it all in now before the exam, death flare, but yeah, it's nice. Like, your 2 auxiliary views, once you know where you're getting your heights from and why you're doing one perpendicular first and then parallel, it's not too bad. Green Darrigan, Damien agreed, been watching all the vids today after physics. Matt Foley, tomorrow morning, what are the main topics I should skim over beforehand? Matt, kind of similar to what somebody else asked there. So I'd say what you should be looking at is section C. Have I fucking been talking here for ages about and it be muted? I bet you I have. Where the hell was I? talking to my fucking self here for ages. Dara, Matt Foley, tomorrow morning, main topics are skim over. Matt, just in case I was muted there, Section C, as I said before, look at that. You can try and get as much of those 90 marks as you possibly can. Dara, traces. Traces depends. Sometimes there's easy ones. As I said, I think I was muted there. I didn't like teaching them initially, but now I do because it's hard to visualize at the start, but it gets easier. Jamie, I replied to your comment with a comment, but everyone else had already told you. Dara, I'd like to think I'd be a sound teacher, but sure, everyone's perception is different. I could be an ass if I want to be, but like a leaving cert, it's a choice subject. Everyone in DCG, no one ever gives you ass already. Not in Irish school anyway, so it's a great subject to be teaching. Where do you study your degree? Keelan, UL. I went down doing engineering teaching in UL. Great college. Highly recommend it if you don't have an MSc already. Death Flare or Connell, I was already laughing at your League of Legends using it there. A lot of the topics in DCG get repetitive, really repetitive. Aoife, would you recommend the surface geometry question instead of roadworks if you're good at skew lines and second planes, that sort of thing? I've tried a few and got on grand, but not many. Yeah, if it's the roofing geometry where you have basically dihedral angles, or the hard part where you don't know one of your heights but you just work backwards, I would really recommend that. Now, having said that, road geometry, now before DCG there was two papers. There was an engineering paper and a construction paper, and I'm an engineering teacher, so I prefer C4 and C5. But I remember road geometry in college was really easy. It's really handy, and having looked back now, I wish I studied a bit harder, because it's so easy, and I don't really teach it that much because I don't know it fully, so I don't like to teach it if I don't know it fully. But if you're happy with road geometry, belt ahead with that. But also, if you're brilliant at corner geometry, then, or in second planes, then that surface geometry question is really easy. Yeah, Dara, I bloody muted when I switched scenes, so that's why sound was messed up. I spent the year putting masking tape on other students' basks. Sort of regret it now, but sure, the project will surely be a boost. Ruski, yeah, good. Yeah, I don't think you'd have much time now on the exam to be putting masking tape on other people's backs. Yeah, sure, you have 40% from the project, or you have a good chunk of 40%, so that's a big boost. Just, try your best and all that crack. Matt Foley, good luck. We've been what the fuck? There, Ruski, time well spent, lad. Yeah, sound gone. Yeah, my sound bloody was gone. Art, I can't hear anything. Oh, am I back? Let's see, can't hear anything. Yeah, can't hear anything, lad. Sound gone. My question, Larry, you have indeed. Yes, Jesus. Yeah, not really used to this live streaming shite, lads. For about 3 minutes you were gone. Typical. Would you expect Section A to be awkward or handy? Section A last year, Stevie, it was very line diagrammy, like very long question. So I expect it to be, and it wasn't particularly hard, but I expect it to be a bit easier this year, or a bit more graphic-y, as in they'll give you a lot more information in a 3D graphic in the corner or something like that. Donut Satan, hardest thing that could come up in surface geometry, or is it just very familiar to similar to laminar planes? Yeah, like personally, I prefer the corner geometry kind of question, or the roofing geometry question that comes up in surface geometry. But the developments can come up in that too. And developments, if you're not happy with them, it is it can be hard enough, especially getting the true lengths of stuff. Connor, do you think we may see perspective? Connor, I have to keep referring back to my predictions. What have I written down here? Intersections. Oh, let's see. No, I don't think so, Connor, because if I look back, so you had perspective last year, and you've never seen them double up on perspective year after year, so I wouldn't really expect to see it. But look, this is all, DCG isn't predictable, as you know well. It's all over the shop, so I wouldn't put anything past them. Hope to become DCG and woodwork teacher. Any advice if I don't get the points in UL? Yeah, what are the points now, actually? What were they back in my... Geez, they were low enough back in my day. I think it was 390 or something for... What I could recommend there is... if you don't get the points, if you don't get the points in UL, have you put down... So you want to be DCG and wood. Have you put down engineering teaching as your second? Because I think after you do the first year, because they're fairly similar, when I was in college, anyways, I was 10 years ago, easily. You once you did the first year in engineering, you could transfer to woodwork in second year. So there's a possibility there of putting down engineering teaching, and the points for engineering teaching is lower than woodwork teaching. So that could be a help. Or also look into, if you want to be woodworking your own, Letterfrack is now it's a great college for the woodwork side, as in the machines and like the skills you learn there. It is back in the middle of nowhere though, so UL is obviously way better that way. But if that's your goal, then if that's your career choice, and I'd recommend it really as a career choice, then you could go there. Dara, short short questions are either so easy or impossible. There was one in our mock about some poll, and I still haven't known you what to do. Dara, what company was that with? Because they're always different companies. I can't really remember them anyways. But yeah, some of them are awkward enough. But like they're like you in the name, like they're short questions, so you they shouldn't be too hard. Like you shouldn't be spending too much time. And if you are, bang, skip ahead, move on to the next one. Forget about it. Connor, do you expect another developments question? Not really. To be fair, I didn't expect that bloody one in the first place. But maybe in the surface geometry, maybe in section C3. I don't really take note of them or track them down, so I couldn't really tell you for that. But the developments question, I wouldn't expect another developments question in section B. What I would expect is them to throw some kind of stupid question at you, as in like a combination of questions. So you'd have to, like that axonometric one that came up with the lamp a few years ago that I think I've up on the channel, that combined with intersections, that would be all over the shop. So I expect them to like combine something like that maybe. Let's see, you explained. Hoping perspective, coordinate, axiometric, or intersectional solids comes up. Yeah, perspective is a nice question, and coordinate geometry and axiometric, especially axiometric, they're hard to give you so much information. So that would be a great combination. No, I think I predicted, or tried to predict, or said I predict intersection of solids, because that hasn't come up in a long time. So I suppose don't bog yourself down with the ones you hope are coming up. Jamie, the dream would be axiometric and intersecting solids. Yeah, axiometric is a lovely question. Is there a DCG maths doubt as in teaching, as in combination? I don't think so. For DCG, you have to be either woodwork or a woodwork or metalwork teacher, woodwork or engineering teacher, construction engineering teacher. So I don't think so. You can teach maths afterwards. I'm sure there's a small postgrad you could do to add on maths as well. Right, good luck, boys. See you after. Thanks, Peter, for all the bits. No bother, walk. Best of luck in the exam tomorrow. How many minutes would you spend on the short questions? Kevin, 35 minutes for the entire section A. So you're talking 35 minutes for the 3 or the 4 if you attempt the 4, because they'll give you your best 3. But literally 35 minutes. Yeah, Sound PJ Fids for being a lifesaver throughout the year. Hopefully tomorrow goes well. Good luck, lads. Good man, Dar. No bother. Thanks a million for watching them, and good luck tomorrow. Connor, axiometric perspective and coordinate perspective. Yeah, that's really the 3 to be great. Kieran A, timing. Yeah, 35/36 minutes per question. So that's 35 minutes for section A, 35 per question in B, and 35 per question in C, leaving you with roughly 5 minutes left to look over it. So you'd save time in section A. Surely you wouldn't take the full 35 minutes. So fly through that and see how you get on, and bring that time elsewhere. John Burke, any chance of a video of you giving your thoughts on the paper? Yeah, definitely, John. I tend to do it most years, and then I promise that I'll do some of the questions so you actually see what they look like. But I bloody never have time. I have 4 kids now as well, so that's not going to happen. But I will do a review. I'm planning on doing a live stream. I'm playing a bit of PUBG, but I don't think that's going to work out. But I'll do a live stream again maybe. Do you recommend French curves at all for parabolas, ellipses? Not really, Connor. Freehand should be good enough. And also, like, again, there's no draftsmanship, there's no accuracy kind of mark. So as long as you don't go completely arseways with your points, then you should be sound, Connor. No bother, Kevin Oak. Anya, do you have many girls in your Leaving Cert classes? In Leaving Cert at the moment in our school, I think there's 1 or 2, and like it's a small group, it's only 5 or 6 in it. And in my group, my 5th year group at the moment, there is 1, 2, 3 out of 11 or 10. So we tend to always have a. No, they're the minority in the class, but we always tend to have girls in our groups. We'd have a lot of girls doing junior graphics, so that kind of follows through then to DCG. Jack Tully, for the roads question, do you need to mark in the fill and cut symbols? I don't think there's actually marks for that anymore, Jack. There is the little tadpoles. I don't think there is. So I wouldn't worry about that. Don't, if they're not going to give you marks for it, they're not asking for it, don't do it. How are you, Sean? Fiachra and Hugo. Hi, Paddy. Who's Paddy? Kieran A. Where are you teaching? In Castlebar, Kieran, in Deva College. I think it's on my Twitter, I think. Yes, that's where I'm teaching at the moment. Ronan, if it isn't the boys, should we be using colouring pencils to label lines? Let's see. Should we be using colouring pencils to label lines? Only if you have time. Not particularly. Like, there's no marks for draftsmanship and so on. Like, the colour in my drawings and in class, whatever, is just for like study's sake, and so it's easier to. Is there a good way to sheet? No fear. So the colour is kind of like if you have time, or if that's what you use naturally, normally, anyways. But there's no marks for draftsmanship and so on. So forget about that, or don't worry about that. Like, who else? Can we leave out conics? Well, see, if you leave out conics, it'll come up. If I had 2 hours tomorrow morning, what would you think I should look over? Connor, not really sure. I've been saying throughout the bloody 30 minutes of the stream that you know what's coming up in C, so I'd focus on C. Because there's 90 marks there, and you should get the main chunk of them, especially knowing what's coming up. So maybe focus on that, Connor, maybe. PJ, is there any good way to cheat? No fear for study, and you won't have to cheat. Mayo for Sam. Yes, Kieran. I'm a Galway man teaching. I'm Galway man teaching in Mayo, so I'm well used to hearing that. Pity they wouldn't bloody just do it and get it over with. Is that Evelyn? Is that what that name is? All of us on YouTube isn't. Yeah, I think I might stop the live stream and let you actually bloody study. It's 11 o'clock, or go to sleep. Keelan, do YouTube pay you much for these videos? F all, Keelan. F all, nothing. And it's a pity they don't, because it'd be handy. But it's not for that. Like, it's for mostly helping my students. Because I know when I was in college, the best way to study it was actually drawing it. And if you have a video in front of you of somebody actually doing it, then surely it's the best way to study. Now, whether they use it or not, I don't know. But if the rest of you are getting use out of it, sure, that's the main thing. Keelan, that's a Connor. Sound PJ, thanks for that. No bother, Connor. Good luck tomorrow. Charlotte, just want to give you a massive thank you for all these videos. You're an actual lifesaver. Charlotte, you're welcome. No bother. Glad they help. Kind of enjoy doing them. Like, Stephen Carroll, time tonight. Stephen, you'll be grand. Don't worry about it. It's a big exam. Like, it's a big, obviously, leaving cert, but it's not the end of the world, lad. Fiachra, are you sure? Yes, I am, Fiachra. Are you John Benson in the skies? Who the hell is John Benson? Just call me Dan. I've been watching your videos for a whole day. How do I find the radius of the cone on the geometry question? Jesus, just call me Dan. Dan, what? Which one? How do I find the radius on the cone on the geometry question? No bother, Liam. Best luck tomorrow. Oh, sorry, Dan. I know what you're on about now. Geology champ. The radius of the cone. The radius of the cone is based on the fill and cut. So if it's 1:5, I can't remember now. To be honest with you, off the top of my head, but it's 1:5 or 1:10 and so on. It's off that. So if it's always normally like either 5 mil or 7.5 mil or 10 and 15. Our teacher used your videos to teach us. Should I provide you with details so you can yeah, can I copy strike him? Can I? That's where are you going to school, Evan? Because I might know the teacher. Osprey, what type of questions come up on the skew lines questions, like shortest perpendicular line? Osprey, you get the shortest perpendicular, shortest horizontal line, shortest perpendicular, and you get shortest distance at an angle. And I think I did a skew line tutorial where I went through all three. I think it should be there in like one of the playlists. But like in the last question there, I did shortest horizontal. So you go for your second auxiliary, same angle as the x1, y1. For perpendicular, you literally go perpendicular to the two lines. And then for shortest distance and an angle, you go at that angle to the x1, y1 line. Rory, John Benson is the one and only DCG man. John, I'll have to bloody Google him now. Footballer born 1942. Doubt that's John Benson in the comments. Where are we at here now? Just call me down. Hugo Breslin loves. Okay, cool. Ryan, before you go, thanks so much for the help, especially with my shocking teacher. No bother, Ryan. Good luck tomorrow. Let's see. Hugo, are you John Benson in disguise? No bother, Fear. Best luck tomorrow. You'll be grand. Come on, Michael, or Mial. It's all in your hands now, Walk. Is hyperbolic of revolution most likely come up in part C? Liam PH, I'm not too sure. To be honest with you, I can't remember what came up last year. If it didn't come up last year, possibly. But I think hyperbolic of revolution hasn't come up for a while now, or it's not fairly regular. So it could be something. Could be something to pop up again. But again, there's only a few there. So like again, you know what's coming up in section C. You know what's coming up in that one. It's either that or the is it hyperbolic paraboloid and so on. So make sure you just know which ones are. Make sure you know them. Like, what are your thoughts on surface geometry? A roof type question would be nice to see. Yeah, Anya, definitely a roof type question because it ties in so much with corner geometry. And again, if that does come up, I'd belt away with that because it should be easy points or easy marks. Do you teach any other subjects other than DCG? I do, yeah. Sorry, I teach. I'm an engineering and DCG teacher, so junior cert metal work, leaving cert actually LCA engineering and junior cert tech graphics and leaving cert DCG obviously. How much time should you go for each question, long and short? I'd say for your long questions, again, I've said this before, Osprey, but your long questions, roughly 35 minutes per, and then for all of section A, 35 minutes. So divide that 35 minutes by 3 there, or by 4 if you do all 4 and you get the best, obviously the marks for the best 3. But yeah, 35 minutes on section A and 35 per question then for the rest. What's the predictions, boss? Let's see. At Frank Maloney. Control V. Enter. I think that's the predictions video link. Follow that, Frank, and you'll be all set. Also, Frank, you probably won't be all set because it probably won't come up. Now, Sean, what does PJ stand for? Patrick John. Lee Doyle, PJ, my mate is looking to do foundation level DCG. What do you reckon? There isn't any. There's only higher and ordinary. So if he wants to drop down to ordinary, is it, Lee, from higher, after doing the higher project? Let me know with another comment if that's what you're on about. Pajamas, yeah. Brief run through the methods of finding traces. At friggin' 10 past 11, Richard. Sound buddy, best luck everyone from Kildare. Good man, Osprey. Good luck tomorrow. Colin, would you say someone's grand if they've done F-all study over the past couple of weeks? Colin, look up to the previous chat comments and see that dude. What's his name? Not Fircher. Was it Fircher or was it Frank? So, no. Yeah, that's what I mean, Lee. Oh, yeah, Lee. Hold on, we're at here. So, grand. My mind is now at peace. Sean, why? What did you say? Sound Sean, the OCD kicking in there. Lee, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, Lee, if he drops down to ordinary, that's fine. It's still 60%, but the only thing is that his higher level project is marked at higher level. So his higher level project is marked at higher level, so he won't get as many marks for his project. That's the only thing. So he's missing a whole chunk. But look, if he's not fit for higher level, then he might be better off dropping down. Yeah, it's freaking 10 past 11, Richard. Exactly, Dan. How do your Leave Cert class find the drone project? Anya, actually, it's another teacher teaching Leave Cert at the moment. I have the 5th years. So I think they got on ground with it. I think maybe the hardest part was probably coming up with their new concept. But and maybe the propellers. But I'm sure there's so many YouTube tutorials now. But I think they got on ground, to be fair. Is H1 or 2 very difficult to get? Andrew, it shouldn't be with study, like, and it shouldn't be if you aced your project. Like, if you put the effort into the project, it should be sound, really. And also, Andrew, like, it is, like, don't just waltz, like, well, now is the wrong time for it, but as long as you're studying and drawing, like, as long as you're drawing at home, you should be okay. Fircha, do you think you could beat John Benson in the fight? Osprey, last thing, what's the average percentage of the project each year? Oh, asking the wrong man, Osprey. I haven't a clue. What's the average percentage of the projects each year? I wouldn't have a notion, Osprey. Even my own students, I don't know what they come back with unless we check it. There was somebody else there I wanted to. Did I answer? Where is he? Richard, brief run through the method of finding traces. Richard, you could go back to my videos. It might be in a playlist, maybe a section C playlist. I think I have a tutorial on finding traces. Let's see. Conic sections. I think I did a mock question. Yeah, traces. Let's see. Let's copy that. Copy link address. Who was it? Richard. Richard, follow that link and I'll send the second one now. No, where was I? Okay, I went back up to the chat. Plane director. What is the plane director? Off the top of my head, I can't think of what the plane director is. Plane director is for conics, Sean. Shay, does the hidden detail in some of the long questions go for many marks, or is the bulk of the marks just drawn what is given to you? Actually, Shay, if you look back on any marking scheme, it really gives you a good idea of what they're looking for, or what kind of marks go for small things like that. But the hidden detail, like small detail like that, I don't think there's many marks for it, really, to be honest. Dylan, what are the easiest section C questions in your... Well, Dylan, I'm biased because I'm an engineering teacher, so I think C4 and C5 are the easiest, because assemblies in C5 there's not much to remember, and it's just like, where does everything go? C4, I like dynamic mechanisms, they're easy to understand, But C3, if it's a roof and geometry question, and you're studying coordinate geometry anyways, or intersection of planes in section B, because it's your core. If it's a roof and geometry question, it really ties in with it. So I think C3 could be easy too if it's a roof and geometry question. Moloch, going through your videos just now, want to say thanks for all the help over the past few years or so. No bother, Moloch. Best of luck with it, and I'm glad they helped. Hugo, is there a penalty for giving the project in late? Not sure, actually. I think there is. Because there's such a big deal about it being in on the deadline and having it digitally submitted, but or have it digitally burnt so that the dates are all right. But I've never come across it. No, none of my group be late anyways. But I've never come across it. If there is such a thing. No. No, Michael. Do they properly look through the USB stick that you send them with the project? They do, Kilcoyne. They do. They go through everything. Now, when it comes to SolidWorks, they're not going to be looking at your dimensions and so on. But what they do is open up the assemblies and start dragging and seeing because if things aren't fully defined, then they'll end up being dragged all over the place or rotating. So they do fly through them, but they do go through everything to make sure it's there. Because there's a mark, isn't there, for the layout of the folder as well. Sean, is a plane director the same as the traces? I don't think so. Can you hear me typing on Google? Plane director, edge view of the plane director is seen in this view. Plane director, oh, maybe it is. I'm just not used to using that term for it. Plane director, yeah, possibly. Thomas Shepard, he, let's see, copy link address. Let's see if this is any good to you. Who said that? Sean. Yeah, there's a few teachers with stuff up on YouTube that are pretty good. Sean, so the plane director same as Trace. I think it is actually. I haven't looked at that. Paul, how much is presentation worth in the marking scheme per question? Paul, nothing, literally, as far as I can see. There in junior cert graphics, there used to be 10, or there still is 10 marks, and well, they're changing now this year, but there's 10 marks out of 70 going for presentation, marksmanship, draftsmanship, so on. In the Leaving Cert marking scheme, there's nothing. There's your 45 for the question, and there doesn't seem to be anything about presentation. Now, having said that, you don't want big smears of graphite on your page or anything like that, or colouring in with bloody marker over your construction lines and so on. But if you have time to make it look nice at the end, great. If not, don't worry about it. There's no marks going for it, I don't think, Paul. Fichra, if you don't have a clue how to do road geometry, could you learn it tomorrow morning? Oh, not well. Fichra, is there any topic you have a clue about? Maybe focus on those. Let's see, another Fichra here. Nice name, Fichra. Yeah, very good. Not a bad name yourself. Let's see. Well, boys, live stream during the exam so we can go to the toilet. No. Live stream, the only time I get to do anything like this is this time. Anya, say for a perspective question, if you couldn't find a height and just drew it in, how do you think it looks with an exam? Yeah, they definitely know. For perspective, if you couldn't find a height, as in if Anya, could you not find the height down in the perspective if it's not on the picture plane? Yeah, I know. I definitely have perspective questions up, but like the likes of the pyramid, where you'll actually project it down and continue in line with the edge until it hits the picture plane. Then when you find that down in your perspective view, you can actually put the true height on it. So it has to be on the picture plane for it to be a true height. But yeah, no, they definitely know on you that in front of the lines to have a marking scheme there. Yeah, after half hour when the paper goes online. Yeah, after half an hour the paper goes online. No, that won't be happening. Tom, good luck, lads. Yeah, best luck in the exam tomorrow. I might wrap it up soon now. Who's the best ECG teacher in the country? Kieran, I haven't a notion. There's definitely better out there than me. Aoife, can you just write the question number in the corner of the page instead of using time Type block. Yeah, Aoife, I think somebody wrote that in the comments. Definitely, you can. I never, even junior cert, I don't recommend doing it because it's a waste of time. No marks going for it. So yeah, in the corner, make sure your exam number and clearly identify what question it is, like what question number and what part. Maybe if it's on like a C4 question, definitely put that on down in the corner. But yeah, freehand. Don't worry about your title block. Sean, the best part. Yeah, apparently Sean. Bill Fanning, is this DCG? Is this DCG question? Bill, pretty much. Yeah, I'll try and help you out anything I can, but my expertise mostly DCG. Fiachra, I heard that as well. Now let's see. Can I go and skip to the other one and still put on the? No, you should still be able to hear me, right? Okay, I'm going to wrap it up, say, in the next 2 minutes or so, because there'll be an hour then. It'll be long enough. Sean, any tips for axonometric? Axonometric, if it comes up, God, it's a lovely question. So you should have a lot of the information on... Bill is lost. He is lost on you, yeah. Bill, what you need to know? Sean, any tips for axonometric, Sean? If it does come up, there is so much information on the sheet. Like, they give you the 3D graphic, they give you practically the answer. So make sure to look as closely at the question as you can. Like, they even put in the perpendicular lines, so you know what angles to go at. So that's really axonometric. If it comes up, the only tip is do it, because it's a lovely question. Bill wants life advice. We might be able to help him with that. Cian, well, Evil Buckley. Kid. Is repeating DCG any fun? It's funny, like, year after year it all repeats itself here. There's always somebody who mentions repeating, but put the effort in now, you won't have to. If DCG is repeating fun, it's actually probably, in all seriousness, no, because you'd have to go straight into the project. Well, actually, maybe, because you'd have the experience. I don't know, don't repeat. That's the bloody advice there. Dylan Smith, chances axioms will come up. Dylan, slim to none, I think. Or have I predicted that? No, I think I have, actually, yeah. Maybe a true axiometric question. So like an actual axiometric. I think it's in my predictions video. Because last year, let's see, it didn't come up. 2015. Where are you? Dylan. 2015 is when the last axiometric came up. And that was a combination one with intersection of solids. So yeah, there's a good possibility it could come up, hopefully. Alright, no bother, Bill. Best of luck in your exams if you're doing exams. I can never. It was Mihal or Michael. Mate, how you make your thumbnails with bloody Microsoft Word? Is the AEL Mihal or Michael? I know. Michael, I do them in Microsoft Word. Just throw in the bloody pictures and remove the background. No Photoshop here. Sean, do you provide classes for students who repeat? Do I provide classes for students who repeat? Not personally, or like in class. Obviously, they have in class. Obviously, they or in school, I should say. In my school, yeah, people repeat. They come straight back in. Like it's no big deal. Aoife, haven't a clue, Ted. What did I ask, or what did somebody else ask? Oh, that's right, the comment, sorry. Sean, with the interpenetration, how do you know where the hidden detail is? Look back, I'm sure I've done 1 or 2 videos on that because they're nice questions, I like them. So look back 1 or 2 videos I've done there, and it's from your auxiliary review. The method I do anyways, it's always from the auxiliary review, showing where it cuts, where the intersecting solid cuts through the original solid. Let's see. Heard cool, Keen. Liam is if axonometric or perspective does come. Liam, axonometric. It's a handy question. Should be easy. I don't know. Yeah. Right. Okay. Let's see. I think I'm going to wrap this up now. Same as with the videos, as always. Good luck in your exam tomorrow, and go to sleep. Get some rest before it. It's on 9:30, isn't it? So look, get some bit of studying beforehand, but don't overdo it. And again, it's not the end of the world. Mr. Box, definitely not. No. Interpenetration would not be nice. Yeah, it's a long question. Liam, if it does not, what? If it doesn't not, if it does. Liam, good luck. Go to sleep. Right, I'll do another do a review after the paper is done. So what's tomorrow? Thursday. So Friday or Saturday I'll do a review of it and see how you got on. For road geometry, what way do you put the balloons? Sean, I don't think that matters. I don't think there's actually marks for that, so I won't worry about it too much. There isn't really marks going for it, so I won't worry about that, Sean. Sure, lads, if we fail, we fail. Thank you for the help, PJ. Good night, you legend. No bother on you. Best luck tomorrow, and we'll see you in the review, sure.